Good evening and welcome to Current Issues. I'm your host, Hesham Tillawi. Welcome to the program, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight, well, it is Ramadan. It started yesterday. For those of you who don't know what Ramadan is, it's the fasting month for Muslims. It happens to be the 9th month in the Muslim calendar. And it is where Muslims will fast from sunrise to sunset, which happens to be during the month of August, and it is long days, but what they do, they don't eat, they don't drink from sunrise, about 5:30 in the morning, until about 8 o'clock in the evening. It's similar to Lent, but of course we don't get to choose, like, it's not like we stay away from certain foods or whatever, but, and you can't change that. You can't say, well, I want to do this, or, not eat this kind of food, but it is, but really the month of Ramadan is not just fasting. It's not just to abstain from food and drinks and indulge in yourselves. It is like a recharge station. When you pull into a recharge station, into a re-energizing station, that's when it's for the body and the spirit. That's when it makes you feel of what other people feel, those who don't get food as much as you do normally. It makes you feel with the hungry. It makes you feel what poor people go through. That's the physical side of it, but definitely the physical side is probably the least important. The most important side is the spiritual re-energization. It is where you feel yourself as a spirit, and how good of a human being are you? That's basically, you check those, and Ramadan is, now of course, every day is supposed to be a check mark for you if you have been a good human being living on this earth or not. But Ramadan is basically, that's when you need to re-energize everything within you to come out of it as a strong human being who believes in the well-being of all humanity. This is a scene from one of the mosques at the time of the iftar, which is the breaking the fast, where people normally get together in groups. It strengthens the bonds amongst them, and but that's what Ramadan is all about. We do have, of course, it is a lot more than that. This is Jerusalem. This is actually in front of Al-Aqsa Mosque, where the one you see in the back there, that is the Dome of the Rock, but Al-Aqsa Mosque is to the back of the photographer, but this is the area between the Al-Aqsa Mosque and the Dome of the Rock. And of course, we have other pictures that it gives you. This is, of course, this is a scene that you don't see this only in Ramadan, but you see a lot of it in Ramadan, which is people praying to God. That's, of course, the way Muslims do perform their prayers, by bowing and prostrating to God. And we have a little video, actually, by Cat Stevens, who is a Muslim who converted to Islam. Of course, he has been converted to Islam. His Muslim name is Yusuf Islam. And we have a little video where he actually explains what Ramadan is all about. Let's go ahead and play the Ramadan clip.
Ramadan. Ramadan is the name of the 9th month of the Islamic moon calendar.
It is very important because it is the month in which the glorious Quran was first sent down by Allah to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. During Ramadan, Muslims must fast. We don't eat or drink between dawn and sunset, and we should be very careful to speak and behave in the right way. We learn many things from fasting during Ramadan. It is a time to increase our remembrance of Allah and remember the blessings which we have been given. We learn how to be thankful for the good things that we normally take for granted. After fasting all day, we realize just how wonderful food and drink taste. So we thank Allah more sincerely for providing us with enough to eat and satisfy our thirst. Ramadan is a good form of training. There may come moments or times in life when things are not easy, and we have to carry on even though it is difficult. By fasting, we learn to be patient at such times and to control ourselves and our bodies. This is called self-discipline. During this holy month, the Prophet ﷺ said, "The doors of heaven are opened and the doors of hell closed, and the devils are chained." This helps us to see ourselves as we really are, not under the influence of unseen evil forces. We can watch and improve ourselves more, especially by reading the Quran and going to the mosque, joining in the Taraweeh prayers. In Ramadan, there is a special night that is better than 1,000 months. It is called Laylatul Qadr, the night in which the Quran was first revealed, a night in which all our sins can be forgiven. Fasting is also important because it makes the rich equal to the poor. It gives them a chance to realize what life is like for the less fortunate, those who have little or no food. This helps them become more charitable and give generously of their wealth to the needy, so that they too can enjoy and share the blessings of Allah, which are enough for all.
That is for zakah, to cure our greed, when we give our money to those in need. That is for salamun alaykum, peace be with you, wa alaykum assalam.
Okay, now, was there anything there that you heard that you're not familiar with in your own religion? Whatever your religion might be, but mainly since most of our audience here, our viewers, are mainly Christians. Now, was there anything that you've heard there that you cannot relate to? Now, you know, it is amazing. Of course, last week, we talked about Terry Jones, the pastor or the senior pastor from Dove Outreach Center in Florida, who wants to burn the Quran on 9/11, and he refused to come on the program. We invited him, and we invited him again this week, and he refused to come on the program. So some people, they heard me last week saying that I wouldn't mind debating this guy, and actually that's exactly what they did. That's exactly what they did, is they are trying to set up a debate, but he also refused to debate. Well, I guess what we can do is just push for this debate. And look, I'm willing to go to this guy's church and speak to his congregation, or at the university there. If he wants to have a debate there, we will debate it. And now of course we're not going to debate Christianity and Islam. Don't get me wrong. I will not debate Christianity and Islam, because really there is not much to debate when it comes to religions. Whose religion is better than the others. Anyway, okay. So anyway, getting back to, actually I got distracted there for a second, but getting back to what we're talking about, it is, Islam, and you've noticed that the word Allah was spoken more than one time, and as we explained here more than one time on this show, the word Allah is just, it means God in Arabic, and it means the same God that Christians believe in. Now, you want to say, no, I don't believe in your God, I believe in my God, that's your business, but I'm telling you that Muslims believe in the same God as that of the Christian God. We're stuck in this thing together because we believe in the same entity. We might look at it a little bit different, but we believe in the same entity. You think you go to it from this side, we think we can come to it from this side. But as far as the entity itself, Muslims and Christians believe in the same God. And but we see that there is a problem here. There's a problem in basically what we are facing these days with the Muslims and Christians seem to be fighting each other. If you look at the news, or if you look at some of these magazines or newspapers, or if you listen to some commentators, you think that Christians and Muslims, that's where the war is. Now, there's a reason behind that, because there are people out there who want Muslims and Christians to go at it so they can weaken themselves and destroy themselves. But so they can win. You see, this globalization thing, there's a problem in achieving it. And the problem in achieving it is basically there are two main religions. They have to be weakened and out of the way before globalization takes place, before this one world order takes place. So they've got to get these two religions up in arms at each other's throat so they can win. Anyway, before we dig deeper into this, because this is, by the way, the subject of tonight we're going to be talking about, which is the Muslims and Christians. Each one of them, if you see the news, and if you see these commentators, and if you see some of these activists, they tell you the Muslims are marching, and you think that Muslim armies are coming this way, and it's only a matter of time before they arrive. And the way Muslims see it, Christian armies are already in their countries, killing their people. We're going to talk about this particular subject tonight, but before we go there, let's, something is going on in Pakistan, and affected about 14 million people. And that is the flood. We have a little clip that we are going to show, but our prayers go to all these people in Pakistan and around the world who have been affected by the flood, by the waters, the mud. Over 2,500 villages in Pakistan have been wiped out completely. This thing is huge. This thing is a catastrophe. Maybe God is trying to tell us something. The United States was almost, and we don't even know if we are out of the danger zone here with the British Petroleum mischief there in the Gulf. So there are a lot of problems that we have to face as humans. We don't need to add more problems, because living on this earth is beginning to be hectic, and it's beginning to be a challenge, and it's going to take all of us, regardless of your religion, regardless of your nationality, regardless of your color. We have all to stand up together as brothers and sisters in humanity, because after all, That's all we are. We're not Americans and Pakistanis and Palestinians and all this stuff. This stuff, these are just political identities to make us hate each other more. But at the end, we are human beings. We both came from the same source. Maybe we look a little bit different now. We got blacks and whites and browns and yellows. We speak different languages. We are made out of different tribes. But that's exactly what God said. That He made you into different tribes so you will know one another, so you will meet one another and know one another. He didn't say so you can kill one another. Let's play that little clip with the Pakistani flood. It's only a couple of minutes.
उनको क्या ठीक है भाई अगर आप लोग लाइव दिखा दे फोटो ना यार लोग है ना यार कैमरा इधर कर दो ना थोड़ा सा जी 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 यार عليك شو यार غريب اليوم شكم وقف यार بس هو بريكاردينج هو ده غلط هو
All right, welcome back. And, our prayers and our hearts go out to these people who just imagine, ladies and gentlemen, sitting there with your family, and all of a sudden, a lot of them did not even have time or warnings. These floods, it just happens. They don't know. Of course, they can probably guess what's going to happen, but you can never really know the extent of what is going to happen until it happens. Unfortunately, look at this, devastating scenes. You notice people are out there. I guess if it was in America, people will be running uphill somewhere so they don't have to go through what this man is going through. And one of the scenes there on the bridge, people are still using that bridge, and you never know if it's going to give out any moment. And but people still anyway. So I ask you to pray for all those people, and may God ease it up on them, because 14 million people have been affected by the floods. And if you can help financially, I'm sure there are a lot of organizations that are set up out there. Find out how you can help, because this is a time when everybody needs to forget their problems and their politics and chip in and help, just like everybody helped when we suffered during Katrina here. A lot of people from Muslim countries, they sent help. A lot of them sent search and rescue teams. A lot of them have donated millions and billions of dollars to New Orleans and to the people who were affected there. So keep them in your prayers. If that's the least you can do, just keep them in your prayers if you can't help financially. And by the way, it's not that we're asking you for money. Just go figure out on the internet how you can help them. We're not trying to raise money here. Okay. Now, the problem, ladies and gentlemen, that we have, and we've talked about this last week with the story of Terry Jones wanting to burn the Quran on 9/11, and as I told you, there are people out there who are working on getting a debate set up between this guy and myself. And basically, there are people out there, and there is an organized effort. And sometimes when this organized effort is so huge and it is flooded with money, it overflows over, and it goes from these agents provocateurs with a lot of money and with an agenda to accomplish, who will go out there and start trouble, start convincing some people and probably pay off some people in certain places. And it could be in churches, it could be in radio, in the news media, it could be on the soccer field, it could be anywhere. Anywhere these people can get an icon to adopt their message. And then before you know it, these icons will have followings after them. And these followers, they think they're doing the sincere thing, because by the time the message gets to the average Joe out there, it is geared towards what he can relate to and understand. They play on the average person's emotions. So, for instance, they start telling you, and I've seen this, a couple of years back, and I've talked about it, where at first it was these certain groups that are associated with Zionism and are associated with the enemies of Islam and Christianity at the same time. Because remember, Zionism was the enemy of Christianity before it was the enemy of Islam. And they still are. So they will go in and start telling you, getting these icons at first, and before you know it, more people will jump on board, because now you created in the society a buzz about something, and people feel to attract other people, they have to go on buzzing with that buzz. And what I'm talking about is, few years back, it was mainly the Christian wrong, which is the Christian right. I call them the Christian wrong, which is the Zionist Christians, the John Hagee type of Christianity. They're the ones who started telling you about the Muslims, and Muslims fascists, and Muslims terrorists. And, it's like anytime you have a Muslim that prays, then he's an extremist. Well, he's praying. Or if he has a beard, oh, whoa. Or if he's dressed up in the Muslim garb. And by the way, it's probably most of this is not even a Muslim garb. It is the garbs that they used to wear in those countries way before Islam. But it became known because of the media. Now, if you go to India, you will see Indians, by the way, wearing very much the same attire as Pakistanis. And you would think all of them are Muslims. Well, no. In India, minority are Muslims. The majority are Hindus. There are about 250 million Muslims in India, but when you compare it to a 1.2 billion people, then that's a drop in the bucket. So going back to these icons who start jumping on these things, like a couple of years back, I've talked about the Catholic priest. I guess he's the senior priest in one of the churches here in Lafayette, who sent out a letter to his constituents and his congregation saying that the Muslims are on the march. And, and I responded to him at that time that show me where are these Muslims that are on the march. We sit here in the United States like the deer in the headlights look when we hear a Muslim saying, I don't like America. And you start saying, why they don't like America. Well, go sit on the other side. Now you're sitting here and the Zionists are fueling you with stories to the point where some people want to burn the Quran. That's how bad it's gotten. To the point where people are bringing speakers to their churches to tell them how bad Islam is. Look, if you want to know anything about Islam, and I'm going out to all the churches here in the area, or anywhere else for that matter, you want to know about Islam, get a Muslim. Get a Muslim to speak. But some of these churches, they get these Zionist talking heads that are going around to speak at churches about how bad Islam is. Now, you know something? If you sit and listen to one of these people, you're nuts. Because if you want to go and check yourself because you have something wrong with you, you don't go to a mechanic, you go to a doctor. So if you need to know something about Islam, call a Muslim. Have him explain this to you. So it's unfortunate that some priests in the area, they have got on this bandwagon of bashing the Muslims. Well, that's how it starts, but with years, and remember 9/11, it's been 9 years ago. So all this have filtered to the point where it is boiling. And that's what we want to put out, because it is wrong. You're getting the wrong message about Muslims and Islam. And when you see these people, but why are we getting this message as citizens of this country? Now, besides the media that is anti-Muslim, pro-Zionist, pro-Israelis, besides that, because that's all you see on your television programs and television screens, is how bad Muslims are. But then there are things that you really can convince a Muslim, because you see, to a lot of Muslims, this war looks like it's a religious war. And you really cannot convince them otherwise. Now, I don't see any Muslim armies marching down the streets of New York. I don't see any Muslim missiles or helicopters bombing any cities here in the United States. But I can tell you, as we speak, there are hundreds, if not thousands, of Apache helicopters bombing the heck out of Muslims in Muslim countries. There are bullets being flying to kill people, and you've seen the WikiLeaks videos. If you haven't seen them, well, we'll try to show them to you. You know, one of them is that one that was leaked a while ago, a couple of months ago, with the chopper chopping down these civilians in Iraq, and we showed you that video. But you know, it's amazing when you are scared of Muslims. But listen to what you, well, when I say you, I don't mean you personally, I mean us as a country, as a culture, as a society. Now, the first thing that President Bush said when he talked about this war, he said crusade. Now, if you don't know what a crusade is, ladies and gentlemen, that is when Christian armies went to the Middle East and killed millions of people. That's what the crusades are. And it happened more than one time. I think there were like 3 or 4 different crusades at different times in history. So any Muslim understands what that word means. Any Muslim understands what that word means. And it's not in the same context as you would understand it. To them, it's the people who came from a far, far away land and came over and chopped our heads off. That's exactly, to a Muslim, what the crusades are. Now, that's what Bush said. But since then, they figured out, whoa, wait a minute, this term means a lot to Muslims in the Arab world, and not just the Arab world, throughout the Muslim world. But this is what our leaders are doing to actually fuel that thought in Muslims' heads that these are the crusaders. That these are the crusaders. Things that even the government is doing. We're not trying to tell these people, oh, wait a minute, we're coming there to spread democracy because we did not like Saddam Hussein. No, you went there to destroy Iraq for Israel so Israel can prevail. That's exactly what happened. And in the meantime, you got yourself in a big mess. Don't think that people in Iraq, just try to see how much the people of Iraq likes you. All of them. Sunnis, Shiites, Kurds, all of them. See how much they like the Americans. Okay. Top 10 ways to convince the Muslims that we are on a crusade. Okay? Number 10. Have United States military officers, Defense Department officials, and politicians say we are in a religious war. It happened. You had these people in the army, these officials, these politicians who called it a religious war. Number 9, have top U.S. military officers appear in a video showing just how Christian the Pentagon is. We showed you that video here on the program a year ago or so, where these top brass at the Pentagon, they get together every morning, and it became mandatory, and if you don't come, then you're not religious enough, and they have an evangelical Bible study every morning and videotape it and send it out. Was that to convince people that we're coming there for democracy? That was number 9. Number 8, plant crosses in Muslim lands and make sure they are big enough to be visible from really far away. And it happened. We're building crosses all over. And we're making them as big as they can be. Well, that tells a Muslim that the Crusaders are here. Number 7, paint crosses and Christian messages on military vehicles and drive them through Iraq. Well, everything we're telling you here, it happened, it took place. What do you think a Muslim in Iraq is going to think when he sees these jeeps with crosses and Christian messages on it? These are the democracy people bringing us democracy. Number 6, make sure that our Christian soldiers and chaplains see the war as a way to fulfill the Great Commission. You have chaplains and officers who are systematically infesting the minds of our soldiers that this is what we're doing is exactly what Jesus wants us to do. I doubt it. I doubt it. Number 5, post photos on the internet of United States soldiers with their rifles and Bibles. It happened. When you have a soldier and a Bible, now, I'm not against a soldier having a personal Bible. Your religion, I'm not saying that these soldiers should not be soldiers who fear God. Well, I guess if they fear God, they will not be there, but if they are, God is for them, for him personally. Don't bring a gun and a Bible and come towards me because I think you're going to kill me because of that Bible in your hand. New Testament, That's what it says on that tank. New Testament. Number 4. Now this is here, they're baptizing in Iraq. And as a matter of fact, right here in the United States, there are like group baptisms. They have in baptism parties to these soldiers before they go to Iraq. This man is being baptized not in Texas or Louisiana or New York. He's being baptized in Iraq. This is a group session. Now you want to tell me they're not playing with people's minds over there? These chaplains? This here in the Tigris River in Iraq. This is one of the baptisms parties. Now, I don't have a problem with people who want to be baptized. I don't have anything against that. But when you're doing it in Iraq and you're fighting in Iraq, the image you are sending, because after all, ladies and gentlemen, we understand images. We as humans understand images much better than anything else. And an image gets in our head and right away the whole message, we don't have to read 5 pages to get an idea. We can look at one picture and get the idea. And these are the pictures that we are sending wrong. Now, they're not just wrong pictures. That's the picture. That is what's going on there. That is what's going on in your face. We're telling the Muslims. Number 3. Well, no, number 4. Invite anti-Muslim speakers to lecture at our military colleges and service academies. That's what they do. That's what they do. They get these anti-Muslim speakers to go into our military colleges to tell our soldiers how bad the Muslims are. Now, if you want to teach our soldiers about the people they're going to be killing, at least get one of those people before you kill them. At least get one of those people to tell you what Islam is all about. You might change few minds. People might take a different look at Islam and say, you know what? I'm not going there. But you bring these anti-Muslim good speakers, either to entertain the troops or to cheerlead them into killing more and more Muslims. Number 3, have a Christian TV network broadcast to the world that the military is helping missionaries convert Muslims. And that's exactly what some of these Christian broadcast TV stations are doing. They are bragging about how soldiers are helping the missionaries there into converting Muslims. Even though it's against military codes. Everything we have done here is against military code. Pentagon's rules say, the Pentagon rules, they say, do not convert. Do not try to convert people in foreign land. But they do it. You know, these people are not sitting here in the States, they're over there. Again, I don't have any problem with soldiers going to church and holding masses over there. Our leaders are calling it a crusade. That's what I have a problem with. I have a problem, all right, with number 2. Make sure Bibles and evangelizing materials sent to Muslim land have official United States military emblems on them. Okay? Now, I don't have a problem with a Bible have a military emblem on it when it stays at the barracks. But I do have a problem when they are going there by the hundreds and the hundreds of thousands and being distributed. Now, why do I have a problem? Because it's got the military emblem on it. And it will show that this is a crusade. This is a Christian war against the Muslims. And it's not. There is no reason, none whatsoever, why Christians should be fighting Muslims. None whatsoever. Number one, and it's the last one. Send lots of Arabic, Dari, and Pashto language Bibles to convert the Muslims. It happened. They send in Bibles, and it was the military in Afghanistan that was actually distributing these Bibles. Of course, they were told to stop, but I tell you what, hundreds and thousands of Bibles are still going by private entities to these soldiers, because these chaplains and these gun-ho sergeants who think that he wants to hunt Muslims for Jesus, they're doing it. It is a movement that is growing. It is a movement that is growing. Now, if you see Muslim soldiers praying, right away you're going to think, oh, they're extremists. They're praying. So they must be extremists. They must be related to Bin Laden or something. They must be with Taliban. They're praying. But when we see American soldiers praying, we feel good that, oh, we sent men of God, men with hearts over there. Why is that? Why do you look at what the United States does as being good, and as what these people, poor people that were going over there and killing them, as they being bad? Number one, they don't have the technology to even come over here and kill us. Number two, we are killing them by the scores, and you don't even know for what. You have no idea. We fought terrorism for many years, this thing that we don't even know what it looks like and who it is. Do you see any terrorists being imprisoned in the United States? Are we capturing terrorists? During World War II, we had thousands of German soldiers, prisoners. And you know what? It didn't even last as long as this war is lasting. And we were fighting Germany, one of the strongest and most powerful countries at that time. But here we're fighting Bin Laden for 9 years and we don't even know where the heck he is. Something is wrong. And you're wrong for believing what you're seeing in front of you. Just think about what I said tonight. The whole picture is wrong. And if the picture is wrong, then it's wrong. Then something is wrong. And you've got to start talking. You've got to start speaking. What have we done? What have we done? Why did we miss it that much? We went to Iraq and killed over 1 million Iraqis, destroyed the country. And then we came back and said, oops, they didn't have weapons of mass destruction. Oh, I had the wrong intelligence. Really? Just because? And of course he did not. He did not. George Bush. But even if he had the wrong intelligence, do you go and kill 1 million people and you say, oh, I'm sorry, I made a mistake? I'll tell you what, we have a couple of minutes left in the program, so let me go to the phones. Going to Winston on line 1.
Yes, sir, Dr. Tillawi, I would appreciate if you could inform me. Sharia law Quran or
Yeah.
all of the Hadith.
Okay, here we go. You know, these guys, you know, you're talking about a totally different thing, and you get an idiot like Winston who has not called the program in a while, and he wants to throw in your head Sharia law, as if he would have discovered something. He feels so good about himself now, he got me a tough question. He knows the answer to that. Winston used to call the program. He hasn't called it in a while. And you see, I have these people out there who memorize one or two words. Sharia law. It sounds horrible when you think about it. Sharia is just a word in Arabic. If you translate it into English, it is not bad. Legislation law. So when we say Islamic legislation law, it sounds a hell of a lot better. But when he says Sharia, and he puts this heavy, when he says he stresses on the Sharia law, it sounds, oh my God, I heard this. Somebody was talking about Sharia law must be bad. All it is legislation. All Sharia law, and these lies that these people bring you here, they tell you, oh, Sharia law, we don't want Sharia law in the country. You're never going to have Sharia law in the country. Because Sharia law, it pertains to certain people, to Muslims, and it deals with civil stuff like inheritance, marriage, divorce. Because as a Muslim, just like Catholics, you go and get married in a church. Now, there are certain rules that are different between, the Catholic rules and between civil laws. And some people, that's Sharia law. When you have laws that are a little different than your civil laws, and you're practicing those laws at the church, that's Sharia law. I think like if you divorce your husband or wife, you have to sit out for a long time before you can, even after you get divorced. Now, in the civil court, you don't have to sit out before that. And some people, they abide by these laws. I forgot what it was. You can't get divorced for 6 months or something. I think this is like in the Catholic Church. That's Sharia law. Now, there are laws like that and rules like that in every religion. Now, if you hear that, like in London, you have a lot of people in London who are of Muslim descent. Main reason, London went and occupied many Muslim countries, and they brought a lot of these people back with them. You find a lot of Pakistanis, you find a lot of Indians. Okay? It's not that these people are marching on, the Muslims are marching on London. And yes, they gave them in England, just like we have special rules for Mormons. That's Sharia law. Sharia is your Sharia. Sharia is your beliefs. Okay? So if you have enough people in a society, they can probably be excluded from civil law if they can take care of this in their doctrines law or Sharia law. Sharia is an Arabic word that we should not even be discussing it. We speak English here, then translate Sharia law to legislation law and discuss that with me, because we speak English here, we don't speak Arabic. Now, if the whole conversation was in Arabic, then I will tell you, yes, you can tell me about Sharia law. So Winston, shame on you. You tried though, you tried. But that's the only thing he always does, is he calls once a year with something stupid like that. All right, I thought I had, is Richard still on? Probably not. I don't know, I don't see any lights. Is he still on? Okay. Anyway, this is what they've been filling your heads with. And this guy, Winston, who called, I'm really glad that he called. I'm really glad that he called. Now, he did not call to ask a question because he really wanted the answer. No, he just wanted to put Sharia law. I guess the next thing he's going to be calling me about the 72 virgins, or maybe chopping people's heads and hands if they steal, or something like that. I don't know. But that's what Sharia law. Next time somebody tells you a word in Arabic, or you want to discuss something about Muslims and it's an Arabic word, just tell that person, look, I don't understand what that word is, translate it to me. If someone says Allah and you really don't know what Allah means, and because you have heard it in many negative ways, then say, you know what, let's talk about God, since I don't understand what Allah means. Let's talk about legislation or religious legislation. Let's not talk about Sharia. Let's talk about struggle. Let's not say jihad, because they'll say jihad. It's not jihad, struggle. And the biggest struggle in Islam is the struggle within oneself to be a good person, a good, productive human being on this earth. Show me how many Muslim armies are marching anywhere. Even when they had the power, and even when they were the superpower, they did not. Most people who converted to Islam converted to it because they found it. They found it to be something comfortable, something they can live with. If you want to know something about Islam, don't go to the priest. Go to a Muslim imam. Go to an Islamic center in whatever city you live in. Go to the library. If you want to know something about Islam, I'm going to give you one source and one source only. And then once you get to know it better, you will find what the other source, the second source. There are two sources in Islam. One is the Quran, the book, the holy book, the one that this Terry Jones wants to burn. I wish if he would read it, because I'm sure if he would read it, he will not burn it. I guarantee you. He will not burn it. But this Terry Jones and many like him, these activists and many like them, just like this idiot here that just called in a while ago, Winston, and these people, they what they do is basically they don't read the Quran, they don't know anything about it, but they want to butcher Islam. They want to butcher Islam before they even know anything about it. You want to know the Islam? Read the Quran. And there's something else called hadith. That is H-A-D-E-E-T-H. Or the sayings of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. Those two sources, the Quran and the hadith. That's where you need to get your information about Islam. Don't get it anywhere else. And if you need a speaker, call us. We will come and speak at your congregation, at your organization, any, civic organizations. We go, we speak, we have speakers right here in town. And if you are in a different town, we will come to you. And we will even come and, if we can't, if you're too far away, we will find you somebody who will come and speak. Okay, let me catch this call very quickly. Chris on line 1. Chris, you're up.
Hesham.
Yes, hi.
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
I got my phone. I'm sorry.
No problem.
How are you?
Turn down your video. We only have like 1 minute left, Chris.
I just want to say hello, man.
I appreciate it.
Take care of yourself. All right, man.
Thanks. I'll tell you what, that is the greatest call just to say hello. Just to say hello. That is what humans are all about. And when Muslims say, Salaam alaikum, that's what they're saying. They're saying, peace be upon you. This is the greatest call that I ever got. Just somebody to say hello. That's all he wanted to say. And that's how it should be between human beings, even if they don't know each other. Even if they don't know each other. Just to smile and say hello. Now, if you want to put yourself out, just say, how are you? And be sincerely wanting to know exactly how these people are. Because that's exactly what we should be and we should be doing, is being nice to each other. Not to get a gun and go across the world to kill each other. And I still say, 9/11 must be investigated, because nothing, absolutely nothing will rest until 9/11 has been investigated and the truth comes out. You know, it's amazing how we investigate the killing of a dog, but we don't investigate the killing of 3,000 people on 9/11. We suffer today because of what happened on that day. The whole world suffers because of what happened on that day. And we're saying we don't want to. Okay. What is it? I don't see it. Oh, okay. All right. Well, unfortunately, it looks like this is going to be the end of the program. It's just too much lights, and my eyesight here was distracted for a little bit, so I couldn't see it. But we only have a little bit left in the program. And, you know, of course, like we always say, go do the right thing. Anytime you feel like you're stressed out, hey, see God, whatever God you believe in, and whichever way you believe in Him. Okay, well, go ahead and